Welcome to the second episode of my YouTube channel. I'm still not feeling all that great, so it's going to be a short day, but I'm going to try to at least do something on every day or every other day, maybe. We'll see how it goes. It's interesting how much time it actually takes to set this all up and actually create the content. Um, but I hope I'll get faster as I get used to it. So these A100 trucks, I've never worked on one, never had one. A bodies and B body Mopars, I can tear apart in my sleep these days since I've done the four that I showed in the last episode. So I think today I'm going to jack this thing up and crawl around underneath it and see how they're put together. I think they're really simple. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do these, because I think they're a very simple restoration. There's not a whole lot to them. But when I bought these, we've had a whole lot of rain here in Arizona this year, and the weeds growing around them were probably 3 feet tall. So I really didn't crawl down underneath them to really look underneath. I just figured it's Arizona, how bad can they be? Um, so maybe I'll learn something here, and maybe this truck will end up being a parts truck. We'll see. So let me get her jacked up, and we'll crawl around and learn about these trucks together. All right. Guess I'm not feeling as good as I thought I did. Just jacking this thing up winded me. Whew. All right. So here we can see the rust that we found yesterday coming through from having that foam on top of the metal trapping moisture over the years. Very nice and clean in the fender wells. This is what I expect out of an Arizona vehicle. Such a shame they did that to the cab. It's just going to make this way harder than it has to be, but it's worth saving because the rest of the vehicle's rock solid. Like I said, there's not much to these things. My understanding is they all had 8 3/4 rear ends. Not quite sure what the width is. I'll have to measure that and see what that is. Leaf spring front suspension. Here's the unique hook and eyelet hanger for the transmission. No cross member. It just hangs down. It's like typical Mopar. Emergency brake cables. Comes into an interesting belt crank system here. The cable runs down through the body. Interesting little pulley system to the parking brake that's up under. What else is in here that's interesting? So here's the throttle cable slash not really cable, but there's a rod up in the laying up in the cab, which probably that's where that goes. It's probably the throttle rod. And here's the bottom of the column. Shifter cables. Keep saying cables, but everything in this thing is a rod. So here's your 2 shifter rods for the 3 on the tree and the 3-speed. Not sure what this is for. There's supposed to be a panel that goes under here that helps direct the air up into the radiator. So it looks like maybe it bolted here and here. The other truck has that on it, so probably gonna have to hunt one of those down or try to make one. Heater hoses run down through here. Brake light switch, by the looks of it. So there's the master cylinder. I've been wondering where that was. So it's actually kind of underneath your feet. Goes through this linkage right here. So that goes up to the pedal. Through this bell crank arm and pushes on the master cylinder right here. So that's what that cover is. Okay, there's a hole on the floor with a cover right up there. So that's how you access and fill the master cylinder. It's through the floor of the truck. Figure out where the clutch is. Okay, so here's the rust that we saw from up above. Some bubbles there, but I'm not sure if that's just dripping from the original paint. And here's the clutch rod. So the clutch rod runs through here. Very solid. Very little to fix as far as the rust down here. Horn, single horn. My understanding is, after reading some of the brochures, that the second tone horn is actually an option. There's only a single horn from the factory, unless you ordered the option to get the second one. So I didn't mention yesterday was my purchase for this restoration was I bought a real rotisserie. So I need to figure out how we're going to get that bolted in here. These look to be not stock. Maybe. I also heard a rumor that the later ones, like this one, actually came with a sway bar. Oh, there's a sway bar right there. So this one came factory with a sway bar. That was only in later years. Looks good. All right. The underside of the truck is very solid, so it's well worth restoring. It is a little aggravating that I have to do so much work on the cab side of it from that foam spray, but it is what it is. It'll just take a little extra time. I'm probably saying probably 2 weeks more to fix all the problems because of this foam. So I may as well start attacking the foam with the needle scaler. I don't really want to spend a lot of time and money in it until I have the title in hand. The lady at the title company said that if she didn't call me on last Friday, that everything went smoothly and the title was a slam dunk. So I didn't get a call, so I'm assuming the title is a slam dunk. So I'm going to spend a little time needle scaling here and we'll see how quickly I can get this floor strip this morning. Like I said, I'm not still feeling very well, so I may run out of energy and call it a day quick. So here I am, 5 hours into the day, 3 hours more than I planned on, but it's hard to stop once I get started. I've learned a lot of things today, mainly about battery life on the gimbal and my phone. I think I've recorded a fair amount to make a decent episode. We'll see. As far as the truck goes, I've pretty much got the floor stripped of that insulation stuff. I was hoping for uh, a discovery of on the positive side, but unfortunately, it was exactly what I was expecting. Everything that was under that stuff is rusted in the corners. There was some places that stuff was a good half an inch thick or even thicker. And I'll give you one guess as to where most of the rust was. Right underneath that area that had that super thick insulation. So we'll wander over to the truck and show you where my progress ended up today. So I pretty much have the driver's side done. This was a little complicated. It took a little while to get around all those parts. Like I say, once I get the title and I'm sure I'm going to restore this thing, I'll start tearing it apart. But I don't want to tear it apart until I'm sure I'm going to do something with it. Other side, pretty much done. Started on that hump. Now you can get back into the quarter here. I was hoping it was going to be better, but I had my expectations that it was going to be really bad in this corner, and it is. So one thing I did do is used a couple techniques to get this stuff off. So the scaler works really good in areas like this where it was already rusty and it wasn't really sticking very well. Turns out there's places that it stuck really well, like go in the center there and over on that hump. So what I did is pulled out a couple different tools. I have this Dremel Multimax oscillating saw and my torch over there, and I would end up just heating up a small area of the insulation with the torch and just use the oscillating saw and just going under. You can even use the side like a knife and just cutting it out. That actually works really good. But as you can see, there's some leftovers, so there, it's going to be a 2 or 3 step process to get that clean. Whereas if the scaler works, it's almost ready to go. Quick little DA with a 80 grit. We back up. I probably DA it with 80 grit to get the paint off. And then it's time to get in here with a sandblaster. So that's this side. Let's wander over to the other side. So here's the passenger side. It's not as bad as the driver's side in this area, but here it's way worse. And actually, that's what we saw from the outside yesterday. So that's where I am. 5 hours worth of work. It's always fun looking at all the junk that falls out of the bottom when you do one of these restorations. Not sure how it's showing up on the camera, but usually when you get done, you claim that you've probably taken 50 pounds of rust and trash out of the body of the car. Scaler's really nice for this too because it vibrates and shakes everything loose. So that's the end of the day. I'm going to head inside, have a beverage, and take a nap probably. So hopefully you understand how this channel is going to go. It's really not to try to be entertaining or a bunch of drama. It's really just to try to help you understand how long it takes to do these kind of restorations and some of the tricks and tools and on the fly inventions you have to make sometimes to get stuff done. But it's all doable. And see you next time.